during this year, on 1st of January, as I was just resting, I didn't have much to do that time. I thought of how can I advance the advocacy on menstrual health and especially on men engagement. Then I thought about the name that I already have, that is the period man, and said, well, I can give myself a challenge. So on 2nd of January, I started a Facebook page with the name The Period Man. And I gave myself a challenge of ensuring that I post daily to that page messages related to menstrual health and hygiene management. So each day I post, I realize that there's a lot of information that I'm lacking. I go back to research and get more information that helps me to break that silence that has been there for long, especially among men. To date, I'm talking about 7,600 people or followers in that page since 2nd of January to today.
Where do you get content from?
Well, at first I thought there are no. I used the knowledge that I had as a person, but after like 2-3 weeks, the ideas were depleted, and so I started doing research. I look for documents that have authentic reports, research that have been done by UNICEF, Bill and Melinda Gates, the government, Ministry of Health. We have World Health Organization, articles that have been done on menstrual health. So I look at these reports, read through, get information that is captivating, and post in the social media.
You maybe go out and do initiatives like giving out pads, teaching girls.
When I first started, I realized that my focus was not actually in giving sanitary pads, because I know there are people who are doing that. So I consider that as not very sustainable. So I focused much on information sharing. But as I continued giving information, I would get to a point where girls ask for these products. Where can I get this menstrual cup? Where can I get these sanitary pads? I've been using clothes for a very long time during my periods. So I started buying pads and distributing to vulnerable girls. And to some point, it even gets to more than just pads. It gets to, you get cases that are very dire. I start buying things like tissue, soap, panties, and distribute to real vulnerable girls. And to some extent, even it gets to now even food.
You've been posting since 2nd January.
Yes.
Have you, as I'm sure I'm cut to school models in
the sometimes it can be tiring, and I just sit down and say, hii changamoto nilijipatia nitaweza. Posting every day, it is not easy. And then I have a very good friend who always supports me on that. I can say my girlfriend has been very supportive. Whenever I tell her, leo nimeboeka na feel tu nizime simu nipotee, I we post 365 days hazijaisha. So I think about it. Sometimes she even sends me images to post. She just does a research and sends me the image. Hebu tafuta maneno, tafuta caption, bandika huko. Even a colleague here, there's a friend of mine here that always reminds me. He tells me, I've not seen this today. What's happening? Rusha kitu bana. Lazima tujifunze leo.
I think as one of the fan for Period Man, and also as a friend, colleague of mine that we have worked with him for quite a long time, I think it is, for me, one of the key things that I usually do to push him is because people are out there and people want this kind of information. You know, men, particularly men, are usually left behind with regards to issues of menstruation. They don't take up the lead to ensure that they advocate for menstruation health matters. So I think for me, one of the key things that I usually do is try to to push him so that he can be able to even rally more men to be at the forefront to ensure that menstruation health matters is given a priority, especially with men being at the forefront.
So At times it gets to that level, but then I have that supporting system that works for me, and I keep on posting.
Who was your partner and where did you get
Well, I would answer that question in two dimensions. As the period man, my partners, I cannot say that I have specific partners, but the people I've been able to work with, I can say, for example, the Men for Periods Conference. I've worked with AfriPads and DSW Kenya, Stretchers Youth Organization as partners, and even a number of organizations, community-based organizations, and even some national organizations. As the period man, depending on well-wishers, I don't have specific organization that gives me funds to do programs. A number of people I've helped so far. One, I would say that the 7,600 followers in my Facebook page are a number of people I've helped so far, because I believe there is an information that they've gone through in my page that has helped them think otherwise. Two, so far I've distributed menstrual products to at least 500 girls within Mombasa, and I've also done a referral to the Endometriosis Foundation of Kenya about 4 women who have been having very serious pain issues. I've referred them to access services on those facilities and other even health facilities. There's some people who get to my inbox with different challenges of period pain. Then I link them with different experts that I know. Then they're able to get those kind of services. So it is different people have gotten reached with my initiative in different ways.
Kwa vitu ambavyo nimefaidika kwa periodic man, kitambo nilikuwa napitia challenges ambazo ngwa si rahisi nipate pads kama mama venye sasa kuna hii ugonjwa wa corona, ilikuwa ni ngumu juu saa zingine haendi job. Sasa hii kuna venye ilikuwa tukikuja huku tunapewa. Sasa nimeweza kupata pads kupitia yeye. Na pia nimejifunza mambo mengi kupitia yeye. Juu ile siku ya kwanza kwa experience period nilikuwa naogopa, but when nilikuja hapa nikapata na mabeshte zangu, nikasikia mawaidha zao na zikanitia moyo.
Mimi kama msichana, period man ameleta faida kwangu kwa sababu huwa anapeana hizi pads kwa wasichana wenye wajiwezi. Hata mimi pia huwa anatuita na tupatia ile kwa kutuonyesha yatujali, hata kama ni mwanaume, he is there for us.
There is one of my fans came into my inbox and asked me, how can I adopt a child? Or how can I adopt a girl child? Then I told her, well, it is easy. Just send your contribution. However little it is, it will touch someone. Then about 2 days later, I got a call from a colleague of mine. She works in an organization that supports the key population. When I talk about key population, I talk about people doing sex work, people who are doing the LGBTI community. So this lady mentioned to me of a girl who is 14 years old, has 1-year-old baby, and she's a sex worker. So I asked to see this girl, and the most surprising point that I got was that this girl, this 14-year-old girl, she goes to that organization to get PrEP drugs for prevention of HIV. And at the same point, her mother also goes to the same place because her mother is also a sex worker. So a girl and a mother meet in the same place to collect drugs, but they both don't know that each other are sex workers. So that it was very disturbing for me. And I remember that there was someone in my inbox who had asked a girl to support, and I called her. I called that lady in my inbox, and I told her, well, I have this girl, this is her situation, and I'm going to meet with them and see how best can we support them. So we went to that organization, we met with that mother and that girl. Actually, it was the first time they were knowing each other, that they're both sex workers. We met with them, I talked with them, and just realized that there are a lot of challenges that girls go through that are not in the limelight. And if you don't talk to them, understand them, then you might judge them very wrongly and harshly.
What are some of the challenges you have faced since period?
I can say there are a couple of challenges. The first one is the taboo and the stigma around menstrual health, and specifically about periods. At some point, I want to talk about periods, and periods, you cannot talk about it if you don't talk about the sanitation part of it, the issues of vaginas. So when it comes to mentioning those aspects, you find some people they don't want to talk about it. Some people still feel shy to share the experiences. So these are kind of challenges I'm seeing whenever I'm in the field. Another thing is the finances. You see, whenever somebody looks at it at the social media, they think maybe I'm getting funds from someone to implement the programs, but it comes from the pocket. I personally have motorbikes, so I've set aside income from specific motorbikes that supports me to buy sanitary pads and dignity kits, then I distribute. Then finally, it is can say the disbelief from people. Some people feel issue ya Tito itaisha tu, watachoka miezi miwili mitatu, lakini ni kutafuta unga atachoka. So some people associate it with it as if it is something I'm using to get popularity and get people to sympathize with me. I'm looking at it as a way of Atito as a person giving back to the community.
What keeps you up every day, wake up every day? I'm a period one. Feeling up motivated.
I'm motivated by the challenges that girls go through. So whenever I wake up in the morning, I think of that teenage girl who gets pregnant because of sanitary pad, because of sex for pads. Then I tell myself, I've not yet done something. I need to do more.
Now ungependa kuambia nini watu?
Kama if you are there, unajua unaweza kumsaidia. Unajua not everyone ako na uwezo. Kuna some part yenye anaweza kulemewa, and if you are there, you know that unaweza kumsaidia. Give him some, umpatie push up yenye anaweza kufikia, outreach other girls.
Well, generally, looking at menstruation, I think menstruation is not a women issues. I think menstruation is a societal issue, and everybody needs to take up this issue because one, it's a natural process, So it's not something that men can be left behind. I know one of the key things are men play a very important role, especially in our African culture. Men play important role with regards to sexuality matters of girls and women. So if men take up the lead, then we'll be able to bridge the gap with regards to gender equality, because men are going to deconstruct the social norms that are existing in our societies. So if men take up this role in ensuring that they champion for menstruation matters, then we are going to reduce the gap with regards to gender equality.
What's next after 365 days?
That question, what next after 365 days? I would say there are a lot of things in store. But I believe after the 365 days, I shall have set the foundation for even a more advanced advocacy. Because if I stop talking about periods after the 365 days, then who will talk about it? So I plan to continue. Yeah. My parting shot is that men
have to wake up from the dream. Periods is not a taboo. It is an important aspect that we need to focus on collectively. We are all result of missed periods. So if our mothers did not have, or if our parents had periods that particular month, then I wouldn't have been born. So it is our collective responsibility, and men have to rise up, talk about periods without fear or favor, because we are impacting a life. This life is of our sisters, our daughters, our relatives, and most importantly, of a girl, regardless of whether you are related to them or not. Yes.
Menstrual health hygiene management being advocated by a man is something unheard of, not here in Kenya, but the world at large. And for James Atito, aka the period man, he wakes up every day despite all the challenges, making sure he fights the stigma behind menstrual health hygiene. Caroline Tsumah for Features by Tsumah.